So I stopped this road ranger in Minot, whatever this town is, on my way to Starved Rock State Park, and inside this road ranger right here are the most obnoxious prices for everything. They have energy drinks, 2 for $8.50, and they had like a 8-ounce bag of beef jerky for like $31. And they had a bag of chips I found that I almost took a picture of. It was like $3.89 for this little bag of chips, and printed on the bag at the top it said only 99 cents. Okay. I don't know. It's wild up here in northern Illinois. Alright, so I made it to Starved Rock State Park. I'm just kind of chilling in the whip for a minute. So this Starved Rock Murderers deal, I'd never heard of it before a week ago, or a little over a week ago. So I looked into it, and it's this big, elaborate, dramatic thing. And it's not even so much like a mystery, or it's not even so much like a murder deal. It's more of like a mystery, like a cover-up slash, I don't know what the deal is. It's craziness. But, so this Charles Weger guy was working as a dishwasher in the lodge. And, like, part of the problem is a lot of this reporting and stuff was in 1960. So when they use landmarks and things and whatnot, so much of it's changed now that it's hard to, everything's just speculation with this. But I did look, so the lodge down here, the visitor center, I guess, is the lodge. And I looked, and there's not, like, any way to tell if this was the original lodge or not. There's nothing like that. And there's another place right up the hill called the Big Bear Lodge, something Bear Lodge. And I went up there and looked, and it has some little thing that says, like, established 1987 or whatever. So I'm pretty sure that's not it, but that's as far as I've gotten, like, my, Sherlock Holmes, detective work here. But anyway, in the podcast, they say that there is no dedicated trail to go from the lodge to St. Louis Canyon in 1960, and their route to get there took them back down the highway, back down this 2-lane highway to the actual highway, and then up the hill, like across the bridge to St. Louis Canyon. So I think I'm going to walk that way just for, it's not like I'm going to find anything, but just for shits and giggles, I'm going to take the route they would have had to take. And specifically, I want to look and see, the cave after knowing what happened there. Also, in the HBO documentary, they had a image like that where they found where his nickname was Rocky. And there's a spot on the sandstone in St. Louis Canyon where he carved Rocky into the thing, and I really want to find that. I'm hoping nobody tore it up, which, may have tore it up. And, I don't know. I'm going to see what I can find. But, originally I was going to do, like, this long murder mystery type video, and once I got here, I realized that, like, the majority, it's just trees and stuff. Like, there's nothing, there's not, like, it's 60 years ago, it's been trampled on 100 million times, there's not a whole lot of that here. Alright, so, I had like 27 minutes left of that podcast when I got here, so I just laid in the back of the Jeep and finished it, and I kind of wanted it to be fresh. So, that 3-part podcast, the majority of it doesn't help that much with, like, anything here. It's just, like, court case and trials and theories and all the evidence and whatever the hell. But anyway, so, the dishwasher that they blamed on it, and the ladies checked into the lodge. So, I'm pretty sure this is the lodge. It's the visitor center now. I can't prove that it is, but who knows. And I would assume that this, I'm pretty sure that this is the gravel road they were talking about. It's paved now, but in 1960, I would imagine that's the road. It's the road in here, so I don't know why it wouldn't be. So I'm assuming this is the way that they would have had to go to get there, because there was no dedicated trail. It's like 3/4 of a mile, and then you get back on the actual highway that goes into town, and you go down a little meadow and then up a hill across the bridge, and St. Louis Canyon's off on the right. So I'm pretty sure that this is the way that those 3 women had to go, so I'm going to take this way. I've tried to do this like 10 times, but people keep driving by or stopping or whatever the case. So anyway, I stopped when I got here and listened to the rest of the podcast, because I listened to it on the way up here, and it's not that helpful for the most part as far as like what's here. It's more of like court case and the cover-up and drama and the evidence and whatnot. So anyway, the dishwasher worked in the lodge, and the women, the last time they were seen was when they checked into the lodge, and I'm pretty sure this back here is the lodge. It's the visitor center now, but at the time I think it was the lodge. I assume this was the gravel road. It's the road to come in on. It's I don't know why it wouldn't be. It was gravel at the time, but it's paved now. It was 1960. So the women would have had to take this road back, which is like 3/4 of a mile, to get to the actual like normal two-lane highway that goes into town. And so I'm gonna go back there and then go down through this little meadow and then across a bridge and up a hill, and then the canyon itself is off to the left. So I'm gonna go this way. I'm not gonna see anything, but I may as well just go this way. This way is still pretty though, for sure. And here's the front gate of Starved Rock State Park. Alright, so I'm at the intersection. So here's the highway. And there's the turnoff to go to Starved Rock State Park. So I just stopped and looked again, and Danielle Holland did say that they walked down the road and back to Highway 21. And this says Illinois 178. So I don't know if this was the right way they went or this was the right highway they walked up. I don't know what other highway they would have been. Maybe they've changed the highways or renamed the highways since 1960, but for the hell of it, I'm going to pretend that this is the right way. Alright, so as I'm walking up the side of the highway here, I just pulled up my GPS app on my phone, and the highway that runs on the other side of the park down to the campground is called Highway 21. And I was like, oh shit. Then I looked, and Highway 21 does not go back towards St. Louis Canyon. Like, if you take it from the lodge, you go up the hill and meander through the park, and then you go out, and it doesn't go to the park. It goes to that four-way that you'd go straight through to go to Matheson State Park, or turn right to go to, like, Peru and LaSalle. So I definitely, if they walked from the lodge, realistically, this is the way they would have had to go. I guess they've renamed the highway. Maybe this used to be Highway 21 back in 1960. I don't know. Alright, so this is the lodge that I thought might be the lodge in question, but now I'm pretty sure it's not. It's called the Grand Bear Resort at Starved Rock. So, anyway, across the street here is this old road, and it's clearly the oldest road of the three that I've walked on today. And there's this little, like, it's not even a parking lot, it's just like an area in the grass where you can park. And then this highway gets super rough and pretty much turns into, like, just a horse trail. But it goes down to this little area that has an old parking lot and, like, a sign that, like, a little post that clearly used to have a sign on it. So I guess it's also possible that in 1960 this was known as Highway 21, but I still don't have any idea. I forgot about this, but there's a guardrail down here too. It's just a guardrail. Yeah. There's a guardrail that runs all the way down the side of the canyon, like the side of the bluff coming into the canyon. I think the chances are good that this might have been known as Route 21. Alright, so this is the bottom of the hill, and I mean, again, it's all speculation, but I assume that this was the parking lot slash original trailhead. So the hill, and then this could have been a parking lot, pretty easy. And then trailhead, really old, no alcohol sign. Who knows? And now I'm back to the trail for St. Louis Canyon. So the main trail that wasn't here in 1960, and then the trail I came from, and then this is St. Louis Canyon. Alright, so the trail's down in the bottom of the canyon now, which I assume the bottom of the canyon was where they would have to come in 1960. And then the HBO series and the podcast both talk about how this is a box canyon, which basically means you go in one way, you come out one way. There's high walls on each side, which is probably why the court would believe that one person can subdue 3 women that fought back. But yeah, I'm still on my way through the canyon. Okay, so last week after that lady gave us the little 20-second description of the cave and the murders and whatnot that she gave us, we kind of assumed that this was the cave where it happened, but this is not the cave. The cave's further down the canyon a little ways. There's kids playing in it now, but I'll get there whenever I get there. They're doing a full-on photo shoot down here. Alright, so this is the cave in question, which it seems in the documentary like it's like a really deep cave, but it's not. I mean, I'm sitting along the back wall right now. It's only that deep. It would be hard to get 3 bodies in here, and I could see why they would assume it was multiple people, especially since they moved the bodies after death and pulled them up into the cave. Yeah, it's crazy. I glanced around for a second. I didn't see anything carved into the sandstone that says Rocky, but I'm definitely going to keep looking for that. So I looked pretty thoroughly in the cave, and I didn't ever see Rocky carved anywhere. I've kind of glanced through most of these other little side, I don't know if you call them, little side lean-tos in the rock, I guess, and I'm not seeing anything. I'm gonna keep looking for a little bit. I hope I can find it, but there was nothing, and I don't remember anything in the documentary or the podcast that mentioned where they found the name Rocky carved into the rock. I've been down here tearing up my head in the sandstone for almost an hour, and I have not found anywhere that says Rocky. For the life of me, I can't find anything that says Rocky. Every time I see an R word, I mess with it for 10 minutes and it always ends up not being anything close. I knew it was going to be faint because it's, 80 years old or whatever, but, yeah, I don't know. I wish I would have because they showed a picture of it on the documentary. I wish that I would have stopped and, took a screenshot to see what was near it or what was around it or whatever, but I didn't, so. Yeah, I guess I'll go without seeing, the graffiti. So I gave up on the Rocky carving. Yeah, I don't know that it was necessarily there, and also they could have took a picture of it in 1961. It might not be even legible at this point. Sandstone erodes pretty fast, but yeah. So anyway, also one of the big things they had to tie that Rocky dude, Charles Uyghur, to the case was a note to his harlot, I guess. I don't know what you'd say. So he claimed that he was working as a dishwasher that day, and he'd been dropped off because he didn't have a car. And between the breakfast and the lunch service, he sat in this general social area and wrote a love letter to some woman that wasn't his wife that he was in love with. And they found the letter that had apparently fallen out of his pocket on the trail. And I kind of wish there was a way to tell where on the trail it was, but that's a long shot. I mean, if we can't even tell if the lodge was the right lodge or the highway was the right highway, you're never going to figure out where the letter was. So I'm on my way back now. So down there, I talked to the guy that had the actual the camera stand, and then another couple, and we were in St. Louis Canyon. I was there. The couple and the guy that had the camera stand, all four were from St. Louis. What's the chance of that? It's kind of odd that this was dedicated as a registered landmark in 1962. So, okay, there's a building called the Lodge in St. Louis Canyon. So the visitor center is back this way. I think that the Lodge actually is that big building that's split off into different restaurants and whatnot now, which makes sense if the guy was working in the Lodge and he was a dishwasher. If I had more than a week, I would have figured that out on my own. Alright, here's the lodge. This is definitely where they left from. I don't know what I was thinking. This is also where I had to walk through all muddy and looked like a Sasquatch. They have a pretty nice view to eat lunch too, though. Alright, so I came up here by the cabins, and so it says cabin 19 and 20 were used for the polygraphs. They're not labeled like that anymore. Now they have these different buildings, and each building's named after a cabin. Like this one is the LaSalle, so the four corners, it's LaSalle 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then back here, they got the building, and it's Tonti, like the Tonti Canyon, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, yeah, I don't know where cabin 19 and 20 are. There's different cabins, like, spread out throughout the area. These are the only two buildings that are right here by the lodge. But also, they made it seem like with the pictures and whatnot in the documentary, like they weren't even in one of the cabins. They stayed in the lodge, like there's lodging little rooms, like a little mini hotel inside the lounge, or the lodge. I guess I don't know if they do that now. It doesn't seem big enough for that with 2 restaurants, but I don't know, maybe it is. Yeah, I didn't exactly solve the mystery today, but I think that's all I'm going to get for the Starved Rock murders here in late 2025.